2,000 years ago, beyond these walls was Herod's palace, huge compound. When they arrested Jesus, they first took him to Annas, then to Caiaphas, who was the high priest, and then Caiaphas led him to Pilate, and it tells us they led Jesus from Caiaphas to the Praetorium. Well, according to Josephus and Philo, the Praetorium, which was the seat of the Roman authority, was in Herod's palace. Many Bible scholars, including archaeologists, believe that right over these walls, essentially where I'm standing, was the Praetorium, the seat of the Roman authority. There was one in Jerusalem, there was one in Caesarea as well. But of course, you're talking context of Passover. Now Pilate is actually in Jerusalem, and his residence is Herod's palace. This is incredibly unique ground. Shimon Gibson, a great archaeologist, believes essentially that Pilate was bringing Jesus out before the people, right in this location. In fact, you see some steps here. This is what is believed to be the pavement. So you have to use a little bit of imagination, but there was a gate here. Jesus was brought into the Praetorium, so he'd have gone into the palace where he's interrogated, and of course this would have been the place potentially that Pilate offered, a prisoner during Passover. Do you want Jesus or Barabbas? And the crowd cried, we want Barabbas. And Shimon Gibson believes, again, a little imagination, that it's actually in this very area that Pilate sat down on the bema seat. He believes he identified actually the bema seat, and this is where Pilate pronounced Jesus to be crucified. If that's the case, then there's a strong likelihood that in this area where I'm standing is where Jesus began to carry the cross. And of course it's Passover, right? He's on the cross at 9 a.m. All this interrogation is taking place very early in the morning. But the Bible tells us that he was on the cross for 6 hours, and he made 7 statements. He ended up crying, "It is finished," and yielded up his spirit. And the Bible tells us the veil in the temple tore from top to bottom, demonstrating access now to the Heavenly Father in the Messiah. Then there was an earthquake, including the righteous raised from the dead. Well, it could be said, at the crucifixion on Passover, there was a great demonstration that Jesus is in fact the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except to be through him. The veil tore, the way, earth shook, the truth, and of course resurrection, the life. Listen, I'd just like to show you one more thing. I'm just going to ask the camera to follow me. But to give you the idea, the religious leaders did not go into the Praetorium. It's Passover. And many Bible scholars believe, including archaeologists, that this was the outer courtyard. Okay, so you can imagine perhaps the crowd here, the religious leaders who are crying for Barabbas rather than Jesus. Just amazing. And of course, it doesn't matter whether we identify the specific place. We know, of course, Jesus gave his life, that he resurrected from the dead, and then in fact he is the way, the truth, and the life.